What's up, everybody, and welcome to the grand finals of ItsGosu Razer MiniMadness tournament, the last Asian tournament before the International 2, which is very, very shortly away. And right now, we have two of the most impressive teams. TongFu did not look very impressive, but they just slammed over Orange with a convincing 2-0 defeat. Meanwhile, DK just handled eHome and Mineski, and they looked very strong. Well, not really handled Mineski, but they handled eHome quite well, and I'm really excited for this matchup.
Absolutely. I've been looking forward to the grand finals of this tournament, so let's get the show on the road.
Yep, so we're going to unpause in 3, 2, 1, go. So, we have DK and TongFu, two of the International 2 teams participating, two of the Chinese favorites. TongFu, if you notice for Dota 1, they're mostly made up at this point of old Panda players, Panda Gaming, which disbanded, and DK, of course, notorious for having one of the best seasons of all of Dota last year. Even though they started out quite slow, and they had Yapits, but ever since they got rid of Yapits last year, they've just been on a tear in Dota 1. And they're looking to shape up in Dota 2, and they've been looking very, very strong in this tournament.
Yeah, they're looking to take the only prize that matters, really. And no, I'm not saying it's not the Razer MiniMadness final, but they're using this as experience to get ready for the International too, so...
Yeah, and one of the things about this tournament, even though these teams could have said, no, I don't want to play this, but this is on a low latency environment. I think everybody's probably playing on the Singapore or the Hong Kong server, or the Chinese server, or wherever the Chinese... I think Chinese mostly play on the Singapore server. But this helps to build confidence and momentum, especially in Dota 2, a game which these teams have not had as much success. And DK have been slacking off a bit in Dota 1, and hopefully, and I think they've been putting a lot more effort into Dota 2. So building momentum is going to be very, very crucial. But it looks like DK has the first ban and pick, and they decide to immediately ban the Tinker.
TongFu's turn to ban.
It makes a lot of sense. That March of the Machines Tinker, man, I'm telling you. It's so strong. It really is. You have to design your whole team around countering it. And we see a Naga ban coming up from TongFu. Wouldn't be surprised if we saw a Lycanthrope and also a Darkseer ban from TongFu. But we'll see. It could be possibly Chen instead. I'm not sure. But basically the standard second bans we'll see from TongFu. And DK is just going with the super standard first pick bans. Rubik is one of them that you often see banned. Sometimes Tinker, sometimes Chen. So we'll see.
Yep, TongFu, of course, could ban out the Lycanthrope since they already banned out the Naga. Naga, probably the best counter to Lycan in this metagame, so it wouldn't be too surprising to see TongFu ban it out, because DK does have the first pickup. Darkseer, a very powerful hero in his own right. Of course, you don't really want to give Burning any of his hard carries, but Burning can play multiple hard carries, so you're going to have to give him one eventually. But even a Morphling ban wouldn't be too uncommon since people have found a way to deal with Anti-Mage. But we do see the Darkseer ban.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. You were saying that Naga is the ultimate Lycanthrope counter?
Yeah.
I'd say she's kind of the ultimate everything counter.
Yeah.
At least right now. Just starting a team fight at such a disadvantage with that sleep is just so brutal. It will guarantee that you lose every single team fight. And okay, we see the Lycanthrope ban coming up from DK. I think that they didn't want to go for it themselves because normally the first pick team doesn't ban Lycanthrope because they'll say, hey, TongFu, we'll have to ban it. But just basically suggest they don't even want to bother playing him. And now we might see a Chen ban from TongFu. We might see Furion, maybe even Enchantress. We'll see.
Of course, keep in mind these teams want to practice up, get as much experience as possible. So they might let heroes slip through, but right now these are very stable bans. This isn't like beyond the Summit Grand Finals where, you know, CLG versus IG sort of banned out ridiculous heroes so they can practice against good heroes. But I guess these teams are very experienced, they know each other, so I guess they just want to be playing at their best and just banning out heroes they're comfortable with. But yeah, right now, pretty standard bans at this point. So DK having the first pickup, Nature's Prophet is the ban, so we'll see what DK decides to go for. No Burning Heroes ban right off the mark. I guess against DK I would have liked to see maybe a Morphling ban, but keep in mind how it plays a Magnificent Morphling as well.
I don't know if it's necessarily worth banning a hard carry from TongFu, as opposed to these utility pushers or utility farmers or whatever that we see in basically all of the first stage bans nowadays. I think if you ban out a carry, there's often another one who can do pretty much the same thing, just a little bit differently. So if you ban out one, there's going to be three heroes who are fairly similar to it. Whereas if you ban out, say, Lycanthrope or Naga or Darkseer or even Rubik, no hero does what those heroes do. You know what I mean? I don't know if at this point in the metagame, it's necessarily worth banning out a hard carry for your first set of bans. And at this point, yeah, Chen pickup from DK super standard. They love their Chen. They first pick them up every chance they can get. So we'll see how TongFu responds.
DK, one of those Chinese teams who plays more aggressively than most other Chinese teams, at least in the early game. They play so very aggressively, while Leshrac and Invoker giving them very solid team fight and very powerful pushing of their own in the form of Leshrac. And Invoker, of course, solid laner, very strong team fight. And we'll see if he decides to go for Quaswex or the Quas Exorb build. Of course, at this point, it's too difficult to tell, but if they want to go for more team fight, then Quaswex is probably the build to go.
We very well may see a Shadow Demon pickup. So Shadow Demon into Leshrac into a Sunstrike. A lot of times when you see Leshrac picked up, there needs to be a setup stun for him. And when there needs to be a setup stun for him, it also is a setup stun for Sunstrike. That is a tongue twister. So while I'm not, obviously you're right, it's too early to say if he's going to be Exhort or Wex. I think it's fairly likely that we may see an Exhort Invoker. And Morphling picked up from Burning, and Shadow Shaman picked up for Zippo. So a lot of extremely standard pickups so far this game.
Man, Zippo's Shadow Shaman is just so... Oh man, I'm getting a grin on my face. Just Zippo's Shadow Shaman, like, he gets nothing farmed, but somehow manages to find a Blink Dagger out of nowhere, hits level 6 at like 30 minutes in the game, still manages to go positive, and just has a huge impact on the game. So I'm excited to see Zippo's Shadow Shaman, and it really shows that these teams are going to bring their A-game. They pick up Burning Morphling, Long DD Chen, or maybe ROTK Chen, most likely Long DD, Zippo's Shadow Shaman. These teams are going at it with their strongest heroes, and that makes me really excited.
I think the way to sum up these two band picks so far is teamfight versus push. With so much teamfight coming out from Leshrac, Invoker, Tidehunter, and so much push coming out from Chen, Morphling, and Shadow Shaman. Obviously, it's not quite that simple. You can't say you can either teamfight, push, or gank, but the strengths so far of both teams lie in teamfight and pushing.
Yeah, one of the downfalls of Tidehunter, if there is a downfall, is his Ravage has a ridiculously long cooldown, 150 seconds. But Leshrac and Invoker are two heroes that have pretty short cooldowns on when they can teamfight, so very much make up for that. And if Tidehunter gets a Ravage on that, it's just gravy on that. As Beastmaster and Anti-Mage are going to be the bans, they want to limit Hao from picking up a hard carry, so they decide to ban out the Broodmother as well. Meanwhile, TongFu, looking to ban off some perhaps off-lane heroes, and maybe a mid-solo hero. That's why there's a Beastmaster ban, and I think DK are on the Dire, which is it's so confusing.
TongFu's on the Dire.
Oh, right, because Radiant always has first pick, right?
No, it's random.
Oh. No, I thought in Dota 2, Radiant always has first pick.
No, it doesn't work like that.
No.
I might be 100% wrong and people are going to laugh at me in the comments, but at least when I scrim, we always just said it's random.
Oh, okay.
And I think a lot of tournaments choose to do that too, so I don't know.
Yeah, that's how it was in Dota 1. It's completely random in Dota 1. But yeah, just the new interface mind gaming me a bit. But it looks like TongFu going to ban out the last vestiges of a team fight, and of course the Enigma, a very strong pusher in his own right. And if Leshrac dies, or if Invoker gets ganked, then this pushing on would be able to take off 2 towers very, very quickly. So a smart ban off by TongFu. And let's see if DK decides to devote even more attention to pushing, or we'll see if they start to solidify and branch out into different situations.
So, what was the most interesting for me, at least in the ban phase, was the fact that Beastmaster got banned. It suggests that they're going to have someone squishy, or maybe not someone squishy, but definitely Invoker at the very least, who once he gets initiated on, will just instantly die. So, it could be to protect the Invoker, but it could be to protect someone else. And obviously they need to ban out long laners. And that's why DK picks up Windrunner, because it's one of the few decent long laners left in the pool. But I think that TongFu might be angling to pick up someone who's easy to kill with the Beastmaster Roar.
Yeah, that's definitely something to think about. And right now, they're going to have to be careful. A lot of disables if Frost can fire out Blink Dagger. Of course, both teams have a lot of disables. But the pushing strength, if Tidehunter doesn't hit a fast level 6, which he most likely will be put in the off lane, but if they just pressure his tower, it's going to be difficult for Tidehunter to pick up a level 6, and then it's going to be difficult to counter this pushing, unless Invoker just somehow manages to dominate his lane completely, which can happen. But still, against DK, we'll see.
Yeah, Super hasn't got a hero that he's playing yet. While obviously Shadow Shaman and Windrunner can be played mid, I think it's unlikely that this will happen this game. So we're going to see a pickup for Super in the solo mid role to go against the Invoker. And yep, I was right. It's a Shadow Demon, so we'll probably see an Exhort Invoker.
Yep, so Shadow Demon, of course, Disruption into Splurth, into Sunstrike, like you previously mentioned. And Shadow Demon Soul Catcher is one of the few spells that doesn't give a crap about Morphling's Morph. Of course, I mean, Morphling's Morph can just go through that anyway. But still, Soul Catcher, very, very useful spell. And if they need some counter pushing, he could put points into Shadow Poison, but that's not as common these days. But meanwhile,
yeah,
DK...
I don't think that they'll necessarily do that. And we're going to see probably a mid picked up from DK and a farmer picked up from TongFu.
Well, DK, they could theoretically put Morphling mid. I mean, against Invoker, it'll be pretty difficult. But Chinese...
I don't like that, especially against any Sword Invoker. Morphling won't get any last hits.
Yeah.
I don't think they should do that.
But DK, thinking long and hard, maybe they're going to go for a surprise pick, maybe they're just going to go standard, probably standard, just so that they can save their surprise picks for the TI2 tournament. But DK quickly running out of reserve time, only 20 seconds left. Meanwhile, TongFu have clear team fight advantage, but can they hold on to get that team fight? And right now, Invoker is pretty much, well, Leshrac in farm play game. So they have some solid semi-carries, but nothing that can really go toe-to-toe with Morphling, unless they get a lot of hexes.
Yeah, we'll see. They can. Hey, they might even pick up a Void. I don't know. Void.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. So you see, we were saying no surprise picks. There is a surprise pick. Let me think about why I did that, because right now I am not sure. So.
Well, one of my other favorite heroes in the game, Dirge the Undying, such a badass. Just run into fights, drop Tombstone, and just soak up all the damage. You really don't have to think with Dirge. But Dirge, of course, very, very strong pusher, and he can cut off creep waves very easily. So if this Invoker gets pressured, our TIE Hunter most likely will just get pushed very, very far back to his tower if he's in the off lane. So he's a solid pusher, so TongFu, they're going to have to be careful if they don't manage to get the appropriate counter pushing measures. Bleh.
I can't figure out why they picked up Undying, to be honest. Aside from the pushing aspect, I can't figure out what it offers them in lane or team fights necessarily, so we're going to have to wait and see how they play him, because right now, like I said, I don't know. And I think we might actually see Morphling mid with the Shadow Shaman supporting the Undying, is I think what we'll see. But again, I can't say.
Well, in the Southeast Asian Dota 1 scene, which is a completely different beast from the Chinese Dota 2 scene, we see these days a decent amount of Trial and Undying. He does go for max Tombstone, of course, but DK, if it manages to hit 3 heroes, it'll just get Dirge so tanky. But I haven't really seen, honestly, a Chinese Undying, so it could be a completely different beast. But we'll just introduce the players in the team. I will go over DK. So we're going to have Long DD going to play the Chen as usual. Super going to be playing the Mid-Soul Windrunner. Burning going to be playing the Morphling. ROTK. Oh man, you just even became one of my more favorite Chinese players. Going to be playing the Undying. And Zippo going to be playing the Shadow Shaman.
Yeah, and on TongFu, looks like we're going to have Hao on the farming DK. We have Mu on Invoker, the Cancer Edition. We have Kabu on Tidehunt. We are going to have, it looks like Sanshang on the Shadow Demon, and Awoke playing the Leshrac. And it looks like they're going to just move to establish their forest right now.
Yep, trademark of Chinese Dota and trademark of Dota in general, but always pick up early sentry ward just to can counter the ward. Meanwhile, DK not going to venture as far, they're just going to stay close to home. Morphling picking up Morph rather than Waveform, a little less common. Actually, I'm not too sure, I honestly don't play Morphling too much, but I think Waveform level 1 is usually the appropriate build.
That's true, but a lot of mid-morphlings elect to get...
Yeah, for the last hitting.
Yeah, they like to get the action first just so that they can last hit.
Meanwhile, Zippo has so many wards that he'll somehow still manage to farm up a Blink Dagger in like 20 minutes, ridiculously. But it looks like ROTK might be playing the bottom soul position up against Tidehunter. So if they do that, it should be relatively even lane, but Dirge will have a stronger mid-game impact because his cooldowns are a lot shorter than Tidehunter.
That's true.
The battle begins.
So it's just a prediction against a melee soul offlaner rather than pressuring it. And Dirge does reveal himself, has haste ring, is just going to thwack on the Tidehunter a bit. No, going to cast immediate decay. Aggro Smash is going to reduce Dirge's damage, and yep, ROTK is just going to back the heck away. No, Zippo is going to be joining Undying on the bottom lane. And we're going to have a mid-morphling up against Invoker. And how come we see mid-morphling so much in Chinese Dota? Any comments on that?
Well, they like to... I think they figure that the Morphling's going to get farm anyway, but if they can give their utility heroes farm early, that's when it's used the best. Because Morphling is going to get farmed, so if you slow down a little bit, whatever. But if their utility heroes get farmed, that's going to be huge. Whereas in a lot of American and European Dota, they need to put a ganker mid who goes around killing people. It's not as big of a concern for Chinese players, so...
Yep, and one of the things about Morphling is that he has base 2 armor, but getting that Wraith Band and getting that Morph manages to get him to an astounding 3 armor. Holy crap, watch out.
They
But
pulled,
that is significant.
they pulled him regen too.
They have pulled him regen. They pulled him both a Salve and a bunch of Tangos. So Zippo's going to be pulling. Tidehunter should have a relatively decent time getting experience. Well, he's up against Shao Shan, but if he puts 1 point into Kraken Shao, it should be A-OK. Dirge isn't the strongest hero killer in the early game. He's really a mid-game hero, as Burning's going to disconnect. Meanwhile, on the top lane, Sanshang supporting the Dragon Knight, as Dragon Knight, he's going to be a strong anti-pusher and also a strong tank. And I guess TongFu's lineup, if they survive the early game, they should be okay because they have a solid team fight.
I wouldn't say that this is an outpick from either team simply because each team is capable of winning every stage of the game if they play their cards right. TongFu can win mid, early, or even late game, and the same thing with DK. So this is really going to come down to individual play and team play, not the picks, I think, because at least the way I view it, these picks are very much even.
Yep, standard build for Chen, pick up that Smoke of Deceit, so he can hopefully pick up a Troll Creep, which he has done, so he can circle around, smoke up, gank the Invoker, and Invoker with Ghost Walk will be revealed for those 2 seconds as Zippo is going to disconnect as well, so a bit unfortunate in that regard. But get that Smoke of Deceit, gank either the Invoker or the Tidehunter. If they gank the Tidehunter, they can most likely push. If you gank the Invoker, hey, you're keeping the Invoker down. So, Smoke of Deceit, very, very much a staple these days on Chen.
No, absolutely. It's just so good at ganking the mid. As it used to be back in the days, a long time ago, mid used to be the only person who ganked, and mid went and ganked other lanes. Nowadays, you're just as much as a target in mid as you are targeting others. Like, all there has to be is 1 smoke gank, and you can win your mid lane for your mid laner with just 1 smoke gank, and that's why Chen and Enchantress are so heavily favored by Chinese teams, I think.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't see any Enchantress ban or anything like that, or a pickup, so maybe Enchantress has... Well, Enchantress still quite picked up, but Chen, of course, if you can get him, he's so much... He just has more of a mid-game impact, and of course Chinese, all about the tankiness, survivability with the Hand of God, just so useful.
Absolutely.
Getting those tanky creeps, no joke. But yeah, Awoke going to be pulling these creeps, so Super not going to be playing mid, so going to be off-laning. Should just stay back as far as possible, because it's against Shadow Demon and DK, and Invoker, Sunstrike. Once it gets that, we'll just be flying in, so Super can't really maneuver forward at all.
Well, I might be wrong, because it looks like Invoker's going for... His items suggest QE, and so does his team, but we probably would see him open with an Exhort, especially against a Morphling like this. So I don't know. He could be going Wax, I'm not sure.
May just prematurely put a skill point in? I'm not too sure.
Either way, we'll see at level 3 or 4. So
yeah, indeed. So we're gonna see Invoke into Cold Snap as everybody's reconnecting. So hopefully we can get this game back on the road. Come on, guys! Don't make us wait any longer. Don't wake your loyal
there we
fans.
go. Super says go. So
yep. So
nice one, Super.
Moo says go as well, and DK is gonna be resuming very, very soon, hopefully, as we are running out of things to say very, very quickly. But yeah, just based on the momentum of these 2 teams, who do you think? I mean, we'll be able to analyze this better as we go later to series. But based on the momentum of these 2 teams, who do you think has the momentum going into TI2?
I think that TongFu is coming off of their qualifier win. It was TongFu who won the qualifiers, right?
Correct.
I think that that's such a big deal for going into the International 2 that you're going to be so psyched up and so glad to be there that a lot of it, at least the way it would work to my mind, is you're like, hey, we can do this, we can do anything. But I don't know. I think a lot of it, probably 50% of the International, is going to be completely mental as opposed to skill. So if they got that positive attitude going in, it's going to be a good thing. We see Moo tanking up basically all of his HP and wasting his salve there. I have no idea what he was doing.
Was the tower hitting him?
The tower was just smacking him and he wasn't backing up.
That is quite odd, as he got Burning down very well. I was just watching Burning all the time. But yeah, Invoker, Bald Monk Invoker. You can't have pleasure without pain, I guess, is his philosophy. But
fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, I guess if he's going for a QW build, it would make sense that he's going to get high points in Q, so it's worth it to trade Harass early. So, I don't know.
Yep. Tyrant is going to do some pulling, as I just recently found out, because I am not very smart, that Anchor Smash does do physical damage, which is why we see Tyrant in offlane position so much. But Burning's going to get harassed by Cold Snap, as here comes a gank by the two supports. Super going to be meeting up with Invisible, Awoke. Did they have, or yes, they had wards to pick out on the throne. And here comes Awoke. It looks like Super manages to somehow dodge the ward, but still going to be scared, or the Split Earth, but still going to be scared away from the Edict damage. And meanwhile, just checking out the Undying farm, ROTK 15 CS, and he's going to get fast Arcane Boots, fast tank ability, and he'll become a mid-game powerhouse. It's going to be very scary to deal with this Undying.
I don't like the support Undyings, which is what you see 95% of the time in pubs, because let's be honest, that's really the only place you see them. So I think if you give some items up on Undying, like a mech, Vanguard, pipe, whatever, what have you, he is really a force to be reckoned with at the 20 to 30 minute mark.
Yeah, I mean, even the Southeast Asian Dota 1 scene, we see support Undying in the tri lane. And I think sometimes in Dota 2 scene as well, when he is picked, he's as support. But I'm personally a fan of playing Undying as a semi-carry, because you just want to get as much mileage out of Undying when he's most powerful, when his Tombstone can't be as focused on as easily, which is in the early stages of the mid-game. And he's such a strong counter ganker that I think he really needs levels. But
Agree.
so Zippo, level 2, just going to steal some experience. Meanwhile, Tidehunter, stacking Ancients, going to be anchor smashing when he can. So right now, very, very calm, very, very passive lane. But once Chen starts to hit some of those levels, he's already level 4, so he's going to be picking up that level, those 2 creeps, which are very, very tanky, and then going to be picking up Hand of God, and that, I think, is when DK is going to make their move.
Yeah, like you said, this Chen really is power leveling, so he's going to be a force on the map. While he hasn't been a force so far, he will absolutely be once he gets that level 5 up, so.
Yeah, and looks like more Cold Snap coming in, as Invoker is going for Quas Wex. Huh, that's why Burning is out hitting him at the moment, but it looks like Mu is going to just deal so much damage. Burning is going to morph into Strength, as Invoker is going to be pressured away. Burning has picked up a bottle as well, just to regen up. As did they manage to get the rune? I think the rune was taken, as looks like DK has placed a Centaur to prevent any more stacks. So nice scientific and identification by DK, as I cannot speak anymore.
Yeah, me and you both, dude. But I think that the reason why he's not going for an Exort Invoker is because they're not really challenging anybody with their lane with the Shadow Demon in it. Like, they don't have to try lane, so Leshrek's just like pulling and stuff, right? We see him, he's going around, doing the jungle, whatever. If they were engaging and trying to offensive try lane with their lane against the Undying lane, I think we would see an Exort Invoker, but since he doesn't need that Sunstrike early game, he's saying, hey, I'll just skip it and go for a more teamfighty build. And to be honest, trying to challenge a lane with Undying and it gets hard fast, because if he lands one triple decay, all of a sudden it looks like you're going to kill him, and you just don't. Doesn't happen, so.
Yeah, 12 strength is no joke.
It's no joke at all, especially in the early game.
And just
looks like we're just going to see a fairly passive CSing game so far. Maybe it looks like DK is going to move to take down this tower. We have some Chen creeps coming out, so.
one thing I am worried about for TongFu, as another pause comes in, is that Lesh is pulling, and Tyrant is getting no experience. So they might not even be able to take early game teamfights, and early game teamfights versus Chen and Undying when they're at their most powerful, and even Zippo once he gets Ether Shock and the Hex going, as it looks like DK is starting to mount and push. It's going to be very, very difficult if Tyrant doesn't have Riot, if Leshrac does not have the tank ability to survive the Undying and the Chen. So TongFu has to be careful in that regard, as Tyrant is level 1, not even halfway to level 2 yet, as he's going to have a miserable time. Here comes Zippo, as he's just going to Ether Shock him away. They're not going to chase him down, but just some physical hazard. No, ROTK going to venture forward, just going to scare Kabu a bit further back. But yeah, just denying so much experience to Tidehunter and Larshak because he's pulling. Early game teamfight is going to be pretty difficult for TongFu.
Well, what we keep seeing from Chinese teams, and you have more experience with the current Chinese scene than I do, is that they're sending their offlane hero out to a lane and basically just having him stack Ancients. And oh no, looks like a first blood attempt. Zippo's going to shackle Kabu. You see Decay coming in from ROTK, and he's just going to fall immediately with the Zippo shackle shot picking up the first blood. But, excuse me, Forked Lightning.
Yeah,
Ether Shock.
Ether Shock. Shackle shot and shock, and then Forked Lightning is
Something
the previous name. But yeah, Edict going to come in with the help of that Poison Dragon. They should be able to bring down this tower, but Windrunner has had a easier time, has picked up the boots at the very least, and is level 3, so that is something to know. Meanwhile, Awoke taking significant damage to the tower, no tower redirection as the snipe barely misses. Disruption just going to be scanning Super away, but here comes Burning, and Sansheng is caught out, completely out of position. Super managed to pick up the last hit, and Hand of God flies through, just to heal up the creeps, as looks like Burning manages to get a beautiful denial, as TongFu just wasting a lot of resources, couldn't even get the tower, and gave up another kill, and meanwhile, the bottom lane is pushing in.
Yeah, and we see Undying's farmed about, what, 15? He's farmed a little bit over 3k gold at this point in the game, so that's fairly impressive.
Yep, if you look at the net worth, he's at 3.8k gold. So, by far and away the most farmed hero in this game, as Morphling has 3k gold to his name. And right now, TongFu just playing, I think, a little bit too passively to deal with DK's aggression, as they're really just gonna... Well, Tyrant is finally picking up levels, so I guess he'll be able to pick up level 6 in a couple more minutes. But Leshrac not receiving enough farm to stay in the team fights, only boosts speed, and Invoker going for... It's gonna just really come down to Invoker, as it so often does in these games.
Leshrac is level 5, but it's not horribly under-leveled. It could be a lot worse, you know?
This is true, he could be level 1.
Yeah, there's always a way to do it worse, but for the most part, there's not a lot happening on this map. It looks like Morphling's going to try to gank, though.
Yep.
Gank coming out from Burning, this could be a first, but
Super's gonna
get
initiated.
disrupted and cursed. He's flying in, but Morphling flies over the top. He's just right-clicking down Sansheng. I'm pretty sure he'll just go down. Power Shot's going to miss, but it doesn't matter because Burning's going to pick up the kill. And now he's attacking Hal. He will have another wave for him. I think Hal should go down, and there it is. Double kill from Burning. Burning has already ganked 2 times this game, so props to him. This is a new Burning.
Yeah, I guess he had a decent time in his lane. Managed to outlast hit the Invoker, and he's been able to pick up some early farm and picked up a haster, and so was able to go on ganking spree. Picked up the agility treads, or the intelligence treads, as he recently switched over. And he's going to be picking up a lot of farm. We'll see what ability sets go for, whether it be Linken's Fast Manta or straight BKB Rush. May just go for BKB to go for the early win. That was a very much a Chinese staple. Go for BKB as fast as possible with the Morphing, and then try to win the game on that. But here comes initiation by Dragon Knight. Looks like Long D is going to be stunned. Is Hand of God up? Yes, he does. All are healed, as looks like Leshrac is going to be the next one to follow. Chen does take the fall. Invoker manages to cast a nice tornado. Can Morphling escape, as Zippo did die. Burning should be able to escape, but he's going to go on the offensive. He's just going to have to back off for now. Is morphing to strength. He has to get away as soon as possible. Going to morph. Gonna wait for it in an odd direction, as here comes the EMP to drain the last vestiges, but a nice shallow shot by Super as to hold the rest of the TongFu squad in place, as Chen Creep just owning Sansheng. What micro-est move blocking Sansheng in place. Oh no, that was unfortunate.
It always is adding just a little bit of insult to injury when you, not only do you die, but you didn't even die to a hero. Man, you died to creeps.
I'm sure he was just like, Sansheng, what are you doing? Why are you holding me in place, dude?
There's no insult when it's Long Didi's Chen, but still, it's
But meanwhile,
no one likes to die to Chen creeps, and he almost has his neck up, so.
And Long D's gonna be able to finish his Hood. He has Hood Arcane Boots 10 minutes in the game. He's gonna be so difficult to deal with, and I don't know if right now, unless Dragon Knight manages to somehow farm up a lot, he's gonna go for the drums build, as he's lost his helmet. But he's gonna go for the drums build so often in the Chinese game this for now, but it's gonna be so difficult to deal with the Sun dying at this point in the game without a farm Leshrac to sort of run in and get that edict off on the Teamstone.
I think that they haven't necessarily got the damage to bring him down. Obviously, QE Invoker deals more damage to a single target than QW Invoker does, but unless he goes for some like a silence build, which I don't think he will because he hasn't got the farm to do it, I don't think that they'll have necessarily the damage output to just kill the Undying. Like, Dragon Knight doesn't deal damage. Invoker's not going to deal huge damage, and then basically they'll need to throw like everything at him and land the Soul Catcher on him in order to kill him, and that's just so much, you know?
I think they were looking for the Undying, but they might catch a wild Zippo. Shadow Poison going to scout him out. Zippo somehow too fast, has Arcane Boots to his name. Meanwhile, Shadow Demon only boots his speed. Shadow Demon very slow, but a nice tornado coming from Moot. Zippo is going to take the fall. Just going to try to cast as many spells as possible. And will the TongFu squad be able to kill the bottom tower? Because looks like Ray going to make a go on the top in exchange, and the top tower is definitely going to take the fall. And meanwhile, looks like TongFu can't push fast enough to kill that bottom tower. So DK playing very, very solidly at this point.
No, I think DK right now is just outplaying TongFu. They're just more on top of what needs to happen at this point in the game.
Yep, and just checking out the early last hit, 67, 68 up on ROTK. Somehow is more farm than burning. ROTK is going to send a screenshot of this, going to post it on his wallpaper. Meanwhile, Hao has managed to pick up 66 CS, but you can just see Xiaodi and Leshrak just so low farmed, and just checking out the hero levels. Man, this is just a recurring theme for Xiaodi in these games. He's just so underleveled.
He's got nothing.
Yep.
Really does.
And DK with all mid push. With Undying, this tank, and with level 4 Tombstone, I do not think TongFu can stop him. Say, get a clutch EMP. No, Disruption is going to save Undying for now, so the EMP will not land. Looks like Bernie's going to go on the offensive. He's going to go for move. Looks like Awoke is going to get Tombstone up. DK going to be casted. Bernie's going to be held in place, but Hand of God doing so much work. Shackle up on Hao. Can they get the right clicks enough to bring him down? Chain stunning, and Burning picks the last hit. No, the long ED does with the Centaurs. Beautiful chain stunning with the Shackle. And the Centaurs and DK are just going to steamroll this middle tower, and might even go for the tier 2. Yes, they are, because they know it's going to be so hard to kill them. And they have the wards.
Undying really does make your team so much more tanky with the Soul Rip, although it looks like he's actually maxing DK over Soul Rip. This is
what I
not done very frequently.
Yeah, this is what I personally do. Nobody else does that. I just think since Soul Rip, it has, you know, sufficient healing, and DK, you sort of want to maximize his damage as early as possible. DK does more damage because he can spam it more. But yeah,
the big one's a cooldown reduction, so it looks like they're just trying to get him as tanky as possible and say, hey, maybe I don't need to heal you guys that much. But normally you do see at least 2 ranks in Soul Rip, but I guess I sort of understand what he's doing.
Yep, and Kabu has not used Ravage once, is farming without an anchor, as the Cosmex are totally screwed up. But still, looks like Burning is invisible. Will he go? He's going to right-click down Kabu. Kabu finally realizes, but it might be too little too late. Here comes the waveform. One more hit. Burning is dominating, and ganking Burning is just too good, but it looks like there's going to be initiation on the top lane. EMP Tornado going to drain so much mana away, but Disruption again saving the life of Undying. These disruptions have not been very timely. Undying has so much mana to work with, so tanky. Can he get the Soul Rip off? He's in his Flesh Golem form, but he finally does die. Shout, even just doing so much damage, and Hao manages to go on the offense for Super, gets the Flame Breath. Can they kill Hao at the very least? Super just tanking up, pops the magic wand. Hao is going to take the fall. Leshrak is going to die first. And here comes Tyrant with the Ravage. Will he be able to cast it? No, he's going to have to retreat for now, as a very late teleport in by Tyrant, but he was dead. Looks like Invoker wants long ED. He's going to have to cast EMP, but looks like Super is going to cast Winner. He's getting blocked by his own Chen Creep. Tornado somehow manages to snipe. Kabu manages to kill Winner. Will he be able to get Zippo? Does he have the Gush? He's going to cast the Gush. Can he catch up? No, he's just going to back off for now. But still, it took like literally 15 seconds of constant focus firing to bring down that Undying, and he didn't even cast too many decays.
Yeah, that was brutal. He's so tanky. He really is. He's one of those heroes who's just deceptively hard to kill. Because you go at him and you're like, oh, he's only got like 1,000 HP. And then he has 1,200 HP. And then he has 1,300 HP. And it just keeps going up. And you keep thinking, I almost got him. I almost got him. And then he heals himself. And it's just like, oh, dear Lord.
And then he has
if you want to kill him, you got to do it fast.
And then he has a pipe, which he didn't have that last engagement. So Burning has more net worth at this point, but ROTK, it's not really necessarily ROTK's play, it's just, I guess TongFu does not have too much experience against playing against Undying, even though ROTK is one of my favorite Chinese players. It's just Undying, the hero, doing a lot of damage in this case. But Burning is going to be able to
not
pick up
many
the
teams
E-Blade.
have a lot of experience against Undying.
Yeah, maybe DK should have saved it a little more. But maybe we're just not going to see Chen at all. So they decided, alright, we'll go for Chen Undying in this game.
Yeah, why not?
Because I don't think
a lot
we'll
of
see
heal, a
nearly
lot of pushing, so
we're gonna barely see any Chen in the TI2. And looks like DK Burning's gonna farm bot, but DK sending all 4 heroes here. And meanwhile, Hao is not getting any farm. And Leshrak's not getting any farm either, only has a bracer to his name. So TongFu, they're caught in a bit of a quandary. What do you think TongFu should do?
I think they need to get a thumbs up on Invoker. I think he is their primary damage dealer, and they need to get him dealing damage. But all we see Burning going in, doesn't matter. He's just going to force a Ghost Walk and force Mu to back up.
Yep, Burning with another haste rune. Most haste runes of Burning's life as he gets an invisibility rune to boot. Meanwhile, there's going to be a bit of pressure, and DK theoretically could go for Roshan. They have the Shaoshan wards, but it looks like they're more interested on providing pressure because there's a Hex and a Shackle up on How. How is going to take the fall. No, Burning stands right next to him, and he's going to teleport out. No, Adaptive Strike, too good, as the 2.5 second stun, not longer than 3-second teleport, unfortunately for How.
Yeah, that's the issue when you don't max the Dragon Tail, as so many DK players like to do. There are trade-offs, so...
Yeah, but still, I mean, it's the common build, because you only get 0.75 scaling even if you max it to 4. But yeah, you do get the TP out.
Oh my god, Wilkins. We saw 2 of them get cancelled, but there's still 1 flying out, so...
Oh, they want Kabu, but it looks like the wards are going to be dropped. And the Tornado EMP has already been used. It's on cooldown for a bit. Hand of God being casted as well. Will they pop the pipe? No, they're just going to go without the pipe for now. Arcane Boots being used as well. RTK going to stack DK, or it looks like Long DD is going to get the initiative, and here comes the pipe to save Long DD's life. Long DD is going to retreat. The tower should fall to the ward. No, RTK is just going to stand in the front lines doing so much damage. And Power Shot just doing a lot of damage, and you can just see the absence of tankiness on the TongFu squad. DK is just going to be able to out-tank them, but DK with a nice deny, or the Dragon Knight at the very least. Nice Shadow Shot holding Mu in place. RTA is going to initiate. Force Staff going to save him. Tombstone, is it going to be popped? Morphling gets a mega kill as Tombstone is going to not be used. Where's Tombstone? Oh, I guess it doesn't even matter.
Dire's top barracks are under attack.
As this is going to mean a free Rex, and TongFu is just looking completely overwhelmed. GG's called. 18 minutes in the game, TongFu realizes, alright, we can't stop this push. They're just too tanky, too much healing, and just so much pushing utility that we can't stop them. So GG's called, and DK is going to take game 1 in a very, very surprising fashion.
Yeah, wow. To say the least, that's
Yeah.
I don't think I was expecting a 18-minute GG, but sometimes these things happen, and sometimes Undying just destroys you, so...
What do you,
I hope we see more of him.
Yeah, I mean, I love Undying almost as much as I love Batrider, but not quite. But what do you think this sort of came down to? Was it outpick or outplay, as we so often say in our commentaries? I think...
I didn't think it was outpicked at first, but after watching what Undying really did, I think it was a combination of slightly outpicked with the Undying pick, and then Burning really did get the runes that he needed to, you know? Like, he always had a haste rune when he needed it. So I think a little bit of it was luck with the Morphling runes, a little bit of it was outpicked, and a little bit of it was outplayed with just flawless team play.
Yeah, I mean, when you give Long ED Chen, Zippo, Shadow Shaman, and Burning Morphling, and just give, you know, the last 2, ROTK and Super. When you give, you know, the first 3, they're 3 of their best heroes, it's going to be difficult to take them down in any game. But I guess TongFu wants to play DK at their best. But we'll see if there's a response to it. I think this is a best out of 5 series. I'll have to double check. So game 1 goes to DK in convincing fashion. So stay tuned for more. As always, you can find ShredKid on his channel, ShredKid Dota on YouTube. So stay tuned. Game 2 will be coming very, very shortly. And have a fantastic day.